Welcome back, viewers. Let's take a look at the breaking development that we are tracking very closely at this hour. In a shocking incident, 7 members of a family from Dehradun have allegedly entered into suicide pact. The bodies of all the victims were found in a car parked in the sector 27 of Panchkula. The incident is believed to have taken place last night. Preliminary investigation strongly suggests suicide by the family. According to the police, a heavy unpaid debt is believed to be the reason behind the tragic incident. The deceased have been identified as Praveen Mittal along with his parents, wife and their 3 children. Vipin Parmar is joining me live on the broadcast, in fact on the same. Vipin, as what we are learning is the suicide case that is emerging, and this is now in fact being probed heavily by the security agencies and the police as well. What is behind this mass suicide from this residence?
Well, good morning, Simran. As many as 7 members of this family died by suicide by consuming poison in Haryana's Panchkula, Sector 27. Well, according to the preliminary investigation, the family belonging to Dehradun in Uttarakhand had come to the city to attend this religious event which is taking place over here in Sector 5, Panchkula. After taking part in this particular religious event, they were searching for a hotel, and people at Sector 27, they found this car, and people in distress inside the car. So they tried to open the car. After that, the eyewitnesses, they called 112. The police rushed to the spot and they found, these 7 members. The person, one of the deceased was identified as a Praveen Mittal, who runs a travel agency there in Dehradun, in Uttarakhand, Dehradun. Police took them to the hospital where, all the family members of this particular person, his parents, his wife and 3 children were, brought dead, declared brought dead by the doctors. The police had found a suicide note inside from this particular vehicle, and which cited, the reason behind this suicide is financial distress. But, police is definitely investigating this matter in different angles. They are contacting the extended family of this particular deceased person, and they are also looking that when this person arrived at Panchkula to take part in this particular religious event, and if he was searching for a hotel, why the family or Praveen Mittal, he took this step and they decided to go for a suicide in his own car. So all these angles are being explored, and definitely police is investigating this particular matter. The post-mortem will take place at Sector 6 Civil Hospital, Panchkula. The forensic team had reached at the spot yesterday only. They have recovered the evidences, and now the police is trying to contact the extended family of this particular person. Definitely, investigation is still going on, and police, on the other hand, by seeing this particular suicide note, they are also investigating different angles in this particular mass suicide.
Well, all right, Vipin, I'll request you to kindly stay on with us on the broadcast, as according to information, the deceased family was spotted by the local, the passerby who saw them struggling in the car, and as per, in fact, the first instinct, they informed the emergency response system via 112, and then a PCR van rushed to the spot. The cops broke open the doors of the car and rushed the victims to the hospital. However, all were declared brought dead later. Vipin, now what is behind this is something that's a part of investigation. But as the police must have spoken to the relatives of the family, this is the entire family with even the aged and the minors as well who have died by the suicide. What exactly is the relatives and also the people concerned with the family in terms of relations is saying at this point of time? What possibly could have led them to take up this step?
Well, it's too early to say, because police is still trying to contact his extended family, and definitely the initial the suicide note, which has been already been recovered by the police, that states that this person Praveen Mittal was suffering from a huge financial debt, and that is why he had taken this particular step. But as far as the family members of the deceased family is concerned, still we need to wait for them to reach at Panchkula, so we'll be able to talk to them. But definitely, this shocking discovery, was made by some of the local. Noticed the family members appearing to struggle inside a parking, area, and near Nada side, Panchkula. So the major question, in this particular investigation is that whether Praveen and the family was aware that they are going to commit suicide, or only Praveen, gave them something to eat, poisonous thing to eat to all the family members. So still the investigation is on, and we have to wait and see that how things will carry forward in this particular investigation, and what police will find when they move further their investigation in this case.
Well, all right, Vipin. Thank you very much for sharing more details. Now, as per sources, what we are learning is that Praveen Mittal had come to Panchkula with his family yesterday to attend a Hanuman Katha program organized at the Bageshwar Dham. After the event concluded, they allegedly took the drastic step of taking their lives while returning to Dehradun. Well, this is something that we are learning upon receiving the information. Then official details were also shared, but this is what in fact has come forward. Viewers, all the 7 bodies of the family have been kept in the mortuary of the private hospital in Panchkula, and the family had come here to attend the Hanuman Katha of the Bageshwar Dham, after which they had decided to take this drastic step. All right. Police have recovered a suicide note as well from the scene. Meanwhile, the bodies have been sent to the mortuary of a private hospital in Panchkula. The police have maintained that they are trying to get in touch with their kin to complete the inquest and the formalities. All right, the police are trying their best to get more updates, as Panchkula DCP Himadri Kaushik and the DCP of Law and Order All right, viewers. Vipin Parmar is joining me live on the broadcast. Vipin, sources suggest that the Praveen Mittal had come to Panchkula with his family yesterday to attend the Hanuman Katha program that was organized, and later they took this drastic step while they were about to return to Dehradun. What are you picking up, Vipin, with these details in fact are coming forward, as the police has also shared this information?
Of course, Simran, now police is definitely looking for the timing when this family arrived at this particular religious event which was taking place over here in Sector 5, Panchkula. And, if we talk about Sector 5 to Sector 27, it's approximate 10 to 15 minutes journey. And it's very outer skirts of Panchkula. You go towards Nada Sahib Road. Nada Sahib is it's sort of a forest sort of area. And, why he specifically chose 27 sector, because, Sector 5, if we talk geographically, this sector is, close by Sector 10, where all the hotels and all the residential lodges are there. So why this family or Praveen decided to go to 27? So this is the major question in investigation as well. Also, the suicide note, a suicide note was recovered from his car, but though police, have not yet revealed the full content of this suicide note, but they are also verifying all the facts. They are, they are also looking into different angles that why this family, taken this particular extreme step. So all these angles, all these questions are being, investigated by the concerned team who is looking the investigation of this particular matter.
Vipin, stay on with us, as in fact what we have learned further is that the suicide note from the scene of the suicide spot has been recovered. The bodies have been sent to the mortuary of a private hospital in Panchkula. The police has maintained that they are trying to get the touch with their kin to complete the request for inquest and other details. Vipin, share more information as what the police probe into this matter has yielded information.
Well, as far as the police is concerned, the investigation had already started, and, in preliminary investigation, they have found a suicide note inside the car. But the question, as I was earlier, talking about, that arises that when this family reached Panchkula, and what was their plan, how they took part in this particular religious event. They came all the way from Uttarakhand to Panchkula to attend this particular program, and leaving all the heavy crowded sectors apart, they went to sector 27 to take this particular step. And whether the family was aware about the financial distress of Praveen, and whether they were told by Praveen before consuming this poisonous thing, or committing this particular suicide. So definitely there are multiple angles. So now police will be talking to close relatives of this particular family, and definitely they'll be looking for more answers, as they have recovered the suicide note, but they are also working on different angles to to crack this particular case over here in Panchkula.
All right, thank you, Vipin, for sharing more updates and adding information. Now, let's take a look at the other developments. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdulla will convene a special cabinet meeting in Pahalgam today at around 3 p.m. This is the first time that Omar Abdulla government and cabinet will take a hold of the cabinet meeting outside Srinagar or Jammu. This comes just over a month after the devastating, horrific Pahalgam terror attack in the valley, and is being touted as a message against violence and terror, as well as a show to show solidarity with the residents of the tourist town. While the agenda of the meeting is not known, the decision to hold a special cabinet meeting comes 2 days after the Chief Minister Omar Abdulla has proposed a dual approach to resuscitate Jammu and Kashmir tourism sector, urging the centre to mandate PSUs to hold meetings in Kashmir and to convene the parliamentary committee meetings there. Ashik Mir is joining me with more details. Ashik, special Jammu and Kashmir cabinet meeting in Pahalgam today. In fact, big day for the political brass in Jammu and Kashmir. What all is being looked forward to as 1 month over Pahalgam? This is one of the latest, in fact, meetings by the political leadership outside Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, exactly, Simran. The Jammu and Kashmir government, under the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah's leadership, will hold a special cabinet meeting today in Pahalgam. The intent as a powerful message against the terrorism and violence in the Union Territory is this is the first time that the cabinet meeting will take place outside the unusual summer capital Srinagar or winter capital Jammu during this government. The choice of Pahalgam aims to show solidarity with the residents of the tourist town, which has experienced a sharp decline in tourist footfall since the April 22 terror attack that resulted in the deaths of 26 people, 25 tourists including. Although the meeting's agenda is not yet public, but the officials stressed that the government gathering significance lies more on its symbolic communication to anti-national and anti-social elements that violence has no place in Jammu Kashmir. Earlier, we have seen, Simran, that Omar Abdulla, during his first stint as the Chief Minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir from 2009 to 2014, had a cabinet meeting in remote areas like Gurez, Mathil, Tangdar of North Kashmir and Rajouri, Poonch areas of Jammu region as well. Simran.
Thank you very much for more updates. Now, let's shift our focus to other developments. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar has met his Maldivian counterpart in Delhi. Maldivian Foreign Minister Abdulla Khaleel is on a 3-day visit to India. He strongly condemned the terrorist attack in Pahalgam and reaffirmed his country's firm support to India in the fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that the discussions covered a broad range of areas, including political engagement, defense and maritime security, development cooperation, trade, economy, healthcare and people-to-people ties as well. Piyaman is joining me with more details. In fact, now the defense, development, trade are going to be in focus as External Affairs Minister meets his Maldivian counterpart. As the bilateral cooperation is concerned, Pia, what are you tracking in the latest as far as the regional cooperation and the bilateral ties of both the nations is concerned?
Indeed, a fresh notice has been put out. In fact, a detailed readout has come from the Ministry of External Affairs. Of course, Dr. Khaleel, the Foreign Minister of Maldives, has met with Dr. Jaishankar. He is on a 3-day visit. A high-level core group meeting was also held, in fact, to oversee progress in the implementation of the India-Maldives vision document on comprehensive economic and maritime security partnership. Of course, we had seen a slight dent in ties back when Muizu had come to power, but once again, especially with this fresh statement coming out with Maldives backing India as far as India's response to the Pahalgam terror attack via Operation Sindoor is concerned, is a major development. Male, of course, has been focusing on political exchanges, defense and security cooperation, enhancing the development partnership between India and Maldives, trade, economy, health, and people-to-people linkages. Dr. Khaleel, while speaking to the foreign minister, has in fact condemned the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. He expressed Maldives' solidarity with the people of India, as well as India's fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Of course, Maldives is a very crucial neighbor. It's a maritime neighbor. It's an important partner in India's neighborhood first policy as well as Vision Mahasagar. So, of course, enhancing both the economic as well as security partnership is crucial. And in light of that, especially the latter, the statement that has come forth as far as Maldives' support to India on Operation Sindoor is very crucial, because we've seen China also trying to make significant inroads over the last couple of months, but we've seen the relationship between India and Mali improve considerably when Muizu, of course, managed to back off behind his allegations that he was putting forth, his India Out campaign. We all remember that taking place and how he ascended to power. But since then, of course, he's softened his stance, and Mali now being more cordial towards New Delhi.
Thank you very much for sharing more updates. Now, let's also take a look at the other developments coming at this point of time. Foreign Secretary Ambassador Vikram Misri will be visiting Washington, D.C. to meet with the senior officials of the U.S. administration. This is a follow-up to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's trip to Washington in February, when both the sides had launched India-US Compact. The trip will be an opportunity for the Indian side to engage with the key interlocutors in the U.S. on the new approach to combat the cross-border terrorism backed by Pakistan. People familiar with the matter have said this on the condition of anonymity. Arzu Seth is joining me with more updates. Arzu, what are you picking up these latest details as the India-US ties are concerned, specifically in particular context of how the India's relation with Pakistan have been emerging during the Operation Sindoor, while the US's role is also being talked about. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri will be visiting Washington. Share more details as to what is going to be on the agenda.
Well, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri will be on a 3-day visit to Washington, D.C., U.S. to meet the senior officials of the Donald Trump administration. The Ministry of External Affairs said on Monday. In fact, Misri will be in the U.S. Capitol from May 27 to 29, and Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri will be visiting and from 27 to 29, and there will be a meeting with the senior officials. And this visit is a follow-up to the Prime Minister's very crucial visit to the U.S. earlier in February to meet the Donald Trump president. Also, the visit is the follow-up to the Prime Minister visit to the United States in February 2025. When both sides have launched the India-US Compact for the 21st century, and also if we see, what is India-US Compact during their meeting in February, PM Modi and President Trump reaffirmed the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership as a testament to deepening the ties of the countries. Both the countries, the leader had together launched the US-India Compact, and this now aimed at driving transformative progress across the key sectors. So this time, the focus will be on the combating with the terrorism. In fact, the defense will be in focus. So this is a very crucial meet of the, and also there has been a lot of talks that will be Vikram Missi is going to held with the officials of the Donald Trump administration. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for sharing more updates on this crucial breaking. Now, let's also take a look at the developments we are tracking from the United States, where the Trump versus the Harvard standoff is clearly intensifying. US President Donald Trump has now stated that he might consider diverting billions in grant dollars away from the Harvard University and give those funds to trade schools across the United States. Remember, the Trump administration has already moved to freeze $2.2 billion in grant funding and has blocked Harvard's ability to enroll international students. The Trump administration claimed that the Ivy League university had failed to crack down on the anti-Semitism. The Trump administration has been using that rationale to pressure the schools such as Harvard to institute wide policy changes that the university officials say infringe on free speech and their academic missions. Pia Maan is joining me with more details. Pia, the option in fact for the Harvard University to hit back at this will be to hit back the Trump administration will be looked on 29th May, where the next hearing will take place, as Trump has considered taking $3 billion in to the Harvard University. The standoff continues to explode. What are you picking up?
Indeed, as you put it rightly, the standoff does continue to explode. Harvard versus Trump continues to intensify. Harvard is in fact fighting Trump on the legal front on two matters. One is related to the visas, and the second matter is related to the grants, the federal grants that Trump has now threatened to in fact divert away to a lot of trade schools. Earlier we'd seen that Donald Trump had frozen nearly $2.2 billion in funding to Harvard. And what was also interesting is that Trump has made threats earlier of Harvard losing its tax-exempt status. He's threatened imposing taxes upon Harvard University. He stressed that the educational institution is pushing a political and ideological sickness. It's reached, of course, a boiling point. We've earlier seen the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Secretary, Kristi Noem, dropping a bombshell. She had stated that Harvard's ability to enroll international students was revoked. This was, of course, taken to the court. Harvard filed a lawsuit. Harvard, in fact, contended that 27% of its campus community and their future was in jeopardy. And this includes 788 Indians in particular. They stated that they have, of course, challenged this, stating that it violates the First Amendment and undermines academic and research mission of Harvard. They were provided temporary relief in the fact that the Trump administration's decision was blocked. The next hearing, as you've stated rightly, is on the 29th, so we will be keeping our eyes peeled for that. However, the saga has not ended here. Trump has doubled down on his stance. He's gone a step further to, in fact, stating that he's going to, and he's considering giving away grants that were supposed to be given to Harvard to other trade schools across America. And that's not all. He's also gone a step further to say that it's not just Harvard, but some other universities which will have to change their ways too. Of course, referring to premier Ivy League institutions such as Columbia and Yale, Princeton as well, and schools on the west coast of the U.S. as well, such as the University of California, such as USC, such as Stanford as well. We all remember that the boiling point, the very part where it started from was, of course, the protests that had taken place within the United States of America last year, the encampments that were made in the yards of these universities. Trump has branded these as anti-Semitic, as anti-American, and has told these universities to take action. And now he's making all these threats because he's claimed that these universities have not done enough to tackle anti-Semitism on their campuses.
Right, Pia. Thank you very much for these updates. Now, viewers, Russia has reacted to the US President Donald Trump's remarks, calling Russian President Vladimir Putin crazy, stating that President Putin was defending Russia, taking the decisions necessary to ensure the country's security, and the Russian strikes in Ukraine were retaliatory in nature. This has come after Trump has slammed Putin for carrying out the biggest drone strike in Ukraine on 26th of May since the Russia-Ukraine war began in the year 2020. Trump had attacked both Putin and Zelensky as the US's repeated attempts to broker a ceasefire between the two nations in fact to bear out no fruit. Slamming Putin for the needless killing of a lot of people, Trump has also hinted at more sanctions on the nation. Russia is, on the other hand, has hit back at the United States President's remarks, blaming them on emotional overload. Meanwhile, listen in to what President Trump has said.
Iran talks. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I can tell you the Iran talks have been going very well.
As you said, you're unhappy.
And I'd love that to happen because I'd love to see no bombs dropped and a lot of people dead. I really would like to see that happen. And I think there's a good chance that it could happen.
You mentioned you're unhappy with President Putin. You've talked before about putting more sanctions on Russia. Is that something you're considering more seriously?
Absolutely. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that. Go ahead.
Aditya Vadhavan, my colleague, is joining me with more updates. Aditya, we have just heard the statement by the United States President Donald Trump, and in fact hitting back at Russia is what he's clearly stating, slamming Putin for the strikes in Ukraine, clearly saying that he's killing a lot of people. What exactly has been the update from the Russian president's side as far as these statements are concerned in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war?
Well, Simran, if you see, the Russian side has now started to criticize even the Trump administration now because, Donald Trump has realized and very rightly realized that, Russia is not stopping as far as this Russia-Ukraine war is concerned. And that is why, Trump is now a bit irritated with Vladimir Putin and he has gone on to call him a little crazy. So, this shift in the stance of Donald Trump, points to the fact that, the American administration might now impose stricter or harder sanctions on Russia because, it is continuing attacks on the Ukrainian people and the Ukraine. And on the meanwhile, even the European Union is going ahead with the strictest sanctions on Russia, to teach Russia a lesson. So that is why, there is now a threat looming over Russia. Actually, the sanctions threat looming over Russia, because both EU and US will now. There is a high possibility that both these will impose sanctions on Russia because it is not stopping the attacks on Ukraine. Whereas, on the other hand, if you see the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also has some trust deficit with Vladimir Putin, and he has been seen blaming Putin in the past as well. Yes, Simran.
Thank you very much for sharing more updates. Now, on that note, viewers, with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned.